family man Toyonoshima made sure that his wife and daughter took the decision to retire with him. So how are the three of them now reacting? Here are the quotes from Toyonoshima himself and his wife Saho, as reported by Sankei and Nikkan Sports combined. Toyonoshima first. I've had so many great memories, but narrowing it down, I'd say my top two were the playoff against Hakuho in 2010, and the time when I became the only person to beat Kotoshogiku when he won the title in 2016. I suppose my only regret upon retirement is not being able to fight Kotoshogiku one more time. Being small, I was inspired by Mainomi, who achieved amazing things despite his stature. If I can give everything to succeed, I can inspire all the kids who are smaller than their friends, was how I approached it. Although I delayed my decision to retire in March, honestly, I told myself beforehand if I didn't get a winning score in Osaka, I'd quit. Actually, I'd lay down the same condition in January, but my family talked me into trying just one more tournament. You know, people often say, I owe it to my family. But before, for example, when I got the 14-1 in 2010, I never thought like that. I really felt alone up there on that dokyo, and got by on amazing support from the crowd. But I now realize you just can't do it on your own. My injury in 2016 was torture, but my family kept me going. Without them, I'd have quit sooner. Over the full 18 years, it was beneficial for me to experience both the sumo extremes, ecstasy and agony. I actually thought I could give it another go in Division 1 last year, but it wasn't easy. It all felt so different to before. Yes, I got close to getting a winning score in Nagoya 2019, but even if I had achieved it by beating Chiyotairyu at the death, well, you could have hardly called it convincing. As for coaching, well, I've looked at those who coached me and thought about how can I get my own points across. I want to be right in there, actively helping the boys as much as possible. It's easy to teach them how to break a belt hold and leaning correctly for the force out, but beyond that, to what extent and how can I help this kid improve? That's what I'm thinking about. I understand I was not the role model for giving everything in training once upon a time, but my thinking changed after my injury. I placed importance on each and every bout. So drawing on that experience, I want to tell these boys, I'll put everything into training you, so you give me everything you have. Now Toyonoshima's wife, Saho. We got so many warm messages, even from people we hadn't heard from in ages. They all remember his 2-year fight to reclaim salaried status from 2016 onwards, so they understand the weight of his decision to quit this time. I knew he'd retire if he got a losing score in Osaka, so those bouts kind of put me on a roller coaster. I got tearful when he won and really emotional when he lost. Because I understand how much pressure he was dealing with and more. When he lost that final match, my daughter Kiho was crying like crazy. Well, she was furious every time he lost. Kids tell it like it is, don't they? And when he sat down to talk with her a week after the tournament, she refused to listen, continuing to insist she'd lend him money until he got his salary back. In response, he explained that his legs hurt, his upper body was gone, and she'd run out of money to support him with someday. Eventually she came round. Due to the behind-closed-doors format, it was sad we couldn't be in Osaka to support him one final time as planned. But I've had the privilege of watching so many of his fine sumo moments live, so I'm okay with that. The 2010 playoff, his comeback from injury, the great sumo I've already seen from him live is where the real value lies. Well, that's what I tell myself anyway. When that Achilles injury cost him his salary in 2016, it was really tough. We downsized the apartment and moved to a place without stairs because he couldn't get up them. You really fear for them when they fight, so in a way I'm relieved it's all over. But other coaches' wives tell me I'll soon feel lonely the next time a tournament comes. Be that as it may, we've now got lots of things we want to do as a family that we had to put on hold while he was still wrestling. Bowling, Disneyland rides, all the things he couldn't risk while needing to fight with an injured body. We are looking forward to things when the current restrictions are lifted.